Hi guys, now we'll see Leetcode SQL question monthly transactions 1. So here we are given transactions table. In this table there are 5 columns: ID, country, state, amount, transaction date. This table has information about incoming transactions, like what is the transaction ID, from which country it has come, whether it is approved or declined, how much amount was for this transaction, and what is the transaction date. Now we have to write SQL query. For each month and country, we want what were the total number of transactions, their amount, what were the total number of transactions that were approved, and their total amount. And we can return this result in any order. Like we'll see this example to understand this question in a better way. Like this is the transactions table. Here we have columns like ID, country, state, amount, transaction date. Like this ID transaction came from US, it was approved, this was the amount, and this was the transaction date. Now we have to write a query that will give this as the output table, where we'll have these all columns like monthly, month, country, then what was the total transaction amount for that month and country, then how many transactions were approved for that month and country, what was the total transaction amount, total approved total amount. So now how we'll approach this question, let's see. So since we have to find for each ID, matlab for each country and month, so we'll simply do group by country and month. Then for total transaction count, we can simply like count the number of rows present in each group. That will give total transaction count. For approved count, we'll go to state this column, and for approved we'll replace it with 1, and declined we'll replace it with 0. Then we'll simply do sum, it will give approved count. Total transaction amount, we'll go to amount, and for each group of this month and country we'll just do sum of the amount column. We'll get this transaction total amount. And approved total amount, we'll go to state column. For each approved, we'll replace it with amount, and for each declined we'll replace it with 0, and then we'll do sum, we'll get approved total amount. Like we'll see the actual SQL query to understand it in a better way. So we have selected all these columns like month, country, transaction amount, and so on. We have selected all these columns from transactions table. And since we want our query to run, matlab in our output table, we want groups to be made for each month and country. So we have done group by month, country. Now you can see that for transaction date, the format is date, month, year format. But in the output table, we only want the format to be of month and year. So we have done date format for this month column as trans date we have taken and formatted as capital Y and small m. Capital Y we have done because we want all the digit year. Not if we have put here a small y, then it will give 2 digit, and so on. Then for transaction count, we are just counting the number of rows present in any of the like column. Then for approved count, first we are going to state column, then we are seeing if it is approved, then we are replacing it with 1. If it is not approved, then we are replacing it with 0, and after that we are doing just sum of 0 and 1. This will give as approved count. Now for total transaction amount, we are just doing sum of the amount for each group of month and country. And for approved total amount, we are going to state column and seeing if it is approved, then we are replacing it with amount. And if it is not approved, then we are replacing it with 0. After that, we are taking its sum, then we are getting approved total amount.